Hello everyone, and welcome back to another World of Tanks console video. My name is Zach, and today we'll be going over the Die Raubtiere Mega bundle that Wargaming has offered for the past month. The bundle went on sale August 1st and is due up in September 1st. This is Bob, by the way. No, I'm kidding. It's the M46 Patton Korea, one of the 3 tanks offered in the bundle, along with the Panzer 58 Mutz and the Rheinmetall Skorpion G. So today we'll be looking at the value of each of these tanks as individuals, as well as the entire bundle offered by Wargaming, to go over some of the stats as well as the benefits of the bundle that I myself got because I purchased this. This is just my own opinion, so if you guys have your own opinions about it, feel free to express them in the comments down below. So the first tank we'll be looking at today is the M46 Patton Korea, also known as the Ripper Patton. We'll be having gameplays after each individual tank, so as to speed things up and not have to go back and forth on this. So the first M46 Patton that landed in Korea belonged to the 6th Medium Tank Battalion. The vehicles known as Ripper Pattons were later allocated to the 8th Army and used by infantry forces as support vehicles. However, in 1950 and 1951, the M46 also saw action in several tank battles, and by June 1951, the front line had stabilized and the mobile stage of combat action had finished, so the Army started to use the vehicles in an artillery role. That's rather peculiar. Along with other US tanks that fought in Korea, M46 tanks were painted with the tiger face markings. Thus, the Ripper Pattons were born, and this is actually the second Ripper tank that we have. We also have the M4 Ripper, the M4 Sherman Ripper that we also have down at I believe that's a tier 5. Uniquely painted, crazy-eyed Jerry over here. Very unique scheme. I like the module, the HD model for this tank. It's very unique. It's new to World of Tanks, that's for sure. Well, console anyway, not the PC's had this for quite a while. I'm glad they released. Again, the design of this tank very unique, very fun looking. Unfortunately, I believe that's where the Patton itself goes down. One of the most troublesome things about the tank, I believe, in my own opinion, it's very underwhelming. It's a tier 8 premium, as well as the Panzer 58 Mutz and the Skorpion G, and out of the 3, it ranks the lowest in the bundle. Personally speaking, I don't know if anyone's had better luck than I have, but it didn't really stack up that well when it's at bottom tier compared to the other 2. You always felt like you needed to be, towards the back. You needed to be that support. Hull armor of the tank. We can go into the, I don't know why I did that. We can go into the armor viewer. The hull armor of the tank being 102 millimeters to the front. On the sides, I'll keep doing that one. On the sides we have 76 millimeters, as well as the tracks that cover for another 20 millimeters of tracks. Of side armor, as well as the rear being 51. So right off the bat, you can tell that your hull armor is definitely not where this tank should be getting shot. As with most tanks, you always want to try to hide it. One of the benefits of this tank, of course, being that it gets 10 degrees of gun depression, so I would imagine you'd want to take advantage of that. To about here, having people shoot up at you can have some ricochets. But make sure they're aiming at the turret. Keep the turret exposed, not the hull. The turret, of course, being 127 millimeters in the front. The sides over here being 76 millimeters, as well as the rear. So it does have a decently side armor. As long as you're top tier, it'll put up a good fight against those. It'll put up ricochets against tier 7s and 6s, depending on what gun they're carrying. 76 millimeters will probably go through this the tier 7 ranked 88s on the Germans will probably go through this, but anything above that will pretty much will go through it regardless. I think it's I want to say anything with above 180 millimeters of penetration would go through this fairly easy, depending on what angle you're shooting it from, of course. Of course, the benefit of this M46 Patton, the M46 Ripper Patton, being that the turret armor or the gun mantlet around the gun itself has that extra. I would assume this is where the extra armor is, but that's about it. This seems so underwhelming for a tier 8 non-premium matchmaking tank, and it shouldn't be that way. I feel Wargaming should have done the moduling, the armor a little bit better around here. It's not too bad, but it's not too great either. You'll pull off ricochets if they shoot you in the gun, but they step up the premium ammo, as most tanks do nowadays. They'll go right through it. So don't feel like you're invincible when you're going in those tier 8s, 9s, and 10s match. You'll pretty much get shot straight through. As well as try to keep the hull fairly angled. It still has this weak spot over here. This would be that little gun port on there, so don't expose it. Even to this can be penetrated by a 76 millimeter caliber gun, so try not to have that there. So similarly to the T25 Pilot or the Vengeance, whichever version of that you have, this tank comes with the 90mm M3A1. Reload time on all these stats here are variable to just base stats. Not if you equip it with any equipment or any perks or skills that you may have, i.e. Brothers in Arms, Vents, Coated Optics, and Gun Rammer. So these all vary depending on what you have yourself as far as the overall stats of the tank, which I believe I have that here. There we go. So on mine, my tier 10 crew, it's my highest American crew. I put it in the M46 while I was doing the op, strictly because it was more beneficial to use that rather than the crew given in the bundle. Ranked 10 out of 17, so that's actually pretty. This is my highest crew in the game. Reduced the reload from 8.10 seconds to 6.68, so it's really good there. The ammo capacity of this tank is really important here in case you guys want to vary up in ammo costs and vary up your ammo. The 192 penetration, it is good for tier 8s, tier 7s. You're going in those, if you're top tier. When you start going into bottom, being the bottom tier of the tank, you kind of want to take more premium ammo, as you should in most of your, tier 8s that can see tier 9s and 10s. It's always good to be at the top, but when you're in the bottom, you need the extra premium ammo. That's kind of where this varies off. Standard damage is 240. That's average. DPM being 2,136 if you land every shot. Again, this varies because of the rank of my crew comparable to your crew, but it should still be the same regardless. The top speed of this tank being 48 kilometers or 48.3, whichever one you want. I haven't really seen the 0.3 or the purpose of it, but 48 kilometers forward is the max speed. 20% fire chance. Reverse speed being 20 with a 18.45 horsepower to ton. Again, it's more similar to the M46 Patton, the tier 9 American, but I feel like the M46 on that is still better just because it gets the better gun. So take that with a grain of salt. But the only beneficial thing for this tank, or the only thing that has this tank being semi-decent is the fact that it gets a whopping 1450 hit points, comparable to any other tank in the bundle, which still gives it a decent rating compared to them, but I feel like you still need it because you just don't have the, I want to say, gun capabilities of the other tanks. Even though both of them, 2 out of the 3, use that 90mm, I still feel like this ranks lower than the Panzer 58 Mutz, simply because of its gun. 192 American versus that, what was it, 212 for the Mutz German. Never gets old. So, view range 390. I believe this is either first or I think it does have the highest out of all. You can get it to about 420. I load my tank with the standard equipment, gun rammer, vents, coated optics. I have a decent enough crew situational awareness, recon, plus brothers in arms. That gives me, I think it's around like 420 to 435 or 36 view range. So that's fairly good, but it's not the best. And you can always swap out the equipment for whatever you feel is comfortable with. But this is just a standard loadout. I don't really feel comfortable with the Ripper Patton to really play it all that much compared to the other tanks. As with all your standard tier 8 premium tanks, they're all meant for silver, not XP, but because they don't get premium matchmaking, if you end up bottom tier, your tanks stand a better chance of gaining a good amount of experience because it's shooting tanks that are above its class. So as far as the silver bonus goes for this tank, it is 57% silver bonus and a 15% XP bonus, which I believe the 15% is standard across all tier 8 premiums except those black edition tanks, which for wargaming's reason was basically pay to win, but who knows? That's their opinion. That's theirs. The standard cost of this tank, of course, is 8,700. So keep that in mind. Currently, I believe in the store it is 9,100. Again, that's because wargaming offers you a free crew and a garage slot, so they feel to charge you that extra 500 gold, or is it 500? No, that's 400 gold. So either way, let's get on to a little bit of gameplay. You guys can check that out, and you might notice that audio is not there simply because I didn't want it. No, I was playing music in the background. Fortunately for me, I can't really have it. So after the game, we'll get back to it. No commentating over the game. Why? Because I feel a little bit more recluse at this point that I don't feel like commentating, but the gameplay should speak for itself as far as what you need to know about the tank. Alright, we'll get back to it right after this game. there you go. Simple, but still beneficial to at least see the tank in action. So it did hold up pretty well against tier 9s. Again, 192 millimeters of penetration isn't so bad, but it's not about going against tier 9s. Tier 10s become the issue. Unfortunately, I don't have any gameplay with that because I forgot I wasn't recording part of the way through the ASOP that each tank comes with. Apologies, I couldn't find anyone. This was just the one that ended up working out a lot better. So, as with all tier 8 premiums, you always make some money. That's always a good thing. Above 100,000 is very welcomed in most cases, which is kind of what you want tier 8 premiums to be. Give me money in the end. 3 enemies killed, 2,844 damage caused, 13 penetrations, with 1,343 assisted damage. So, very well rounded. The same with the M46 tier 9. It's roughly plays the same, I guess, kind of with the... Actually, I think... Does the... I believe the M46 Patton does come with... Yeah, the M46 Patton does come with that 90mm. So the Ripper Patton comes with its own unique... It comes with its own unique gun. The M3A1. Because it comes with 2 more millimeters with 192 versus the M46 Patton's 190 millimeters of penetration on its M3. The 90 mil. Well, that's part 1 covering the Ripper Patton. Hope it was at least beneficial. There's still 2 more parts to go, and they will all be released at the same time. So I gotta get started on the next video. I'll see you back in a couple seconds. Alright, so let's get started on part 2 of the video. The Panzer 58 Mutz. Tier 8 German premium medium tank. I forgot to mention in the last video, or in the last part of the video, that the M46 Patton Korea also had lower shell velocity, which is why you see it actually slowed down. Anyway, back to the Mutz. Panzer 58 Mutz looking very good. Very nicely with the painted on bear on the entirety of the tank. Very lovely looking tank. Very good for packing. And I don't understand the antennas because they make me think of a cockroach. But nope, not a cockroach. It's a bear. It's a bear, ladies and gentlemen. Really looking good. Alright, now to focus on the tank. So, Panzer 58 Mutz. One of 2 tanks in the German line, or German nation, that use a 90mm cannon versus the 88 that most of them use, which for the Germans became standard because their 88mm had better penetration. Because reasons. Unfortunately, I believe it still comes with the exact same penetration. You know what? That's actually good thing to probably review about later on in the video of its own. So, the Panzer 58 Mutz. What can you look forward to when you have this tank? So, similarly to the Tier 8 non-premium medium tank, the Indian Panzer, this tank gets that 90mm, but gets worse armor. Yeah, unfortunately. What are you gonna do? These tanks are meant for wolf packing, or I guess in this case could be bear packing. What do you call a group of bears that work together? Huh. Anyway, so I don't understand this part with the armor viewer. I really wish they would update their armor viewer, but nevertheless, why does this make sense? This thin line right here being the most armor? How? Why? What use does this have? Anyway, back to the tank. Panzer 58 was rolling with my highest German crew, ranked 9 out of 17, reduced the overall stats, or reload time as most people would prefer, to 6.6. That would be Brothers in Arms, Vents, and the caliber. The medium, medium caliber gun rammer. Ammo capacity right there, 48, with a standard penetration of 212 and damage of 240. Yeah, so basically the 88mm act like a 90mm for the Germans compared to most other nations. DPM 2,184 with a top speed of 50 kilometers. So comparably to the M46 Patton Korea, or the Ripper Patton that most people should be calling it by now, the armor along the sides of this tank has no armor. Frontally you can pull off some ricochets. Unfortunately for our model viewer, we don't get the effective armor value, so I can't point that out to you specifically the way Tanks GG would be able to for those on PC. The gun, of course, gets 10 degrees of gun depression, so that's more effectively to use. Great for a ridgeline. Again, I think I prefer using this tank as a pack tank, but of course my video will probably contradict everything I said as well, similarly to the Ripper Patton not being a frontline runner and then me going to the front. But the hit points is something to be careful of. I believe this one has the lowest, 1,300 hit points out of the 3. I'm not sure. I gotta make sure I double check that. But anyway, 1,300 hit points. Not too bad. Very average for tier 8s. The engine power being really great. Probably the only... not noticeable, even though it says 600. Again, you can tell because of the amount of armor that this tank has. It forgoes armor for a little bit more mobility. Similar to the Indian Panzer. That highly average tank. I should say sniper tank, but either way. So, ammo loadouts. And something I forgot to show in the Ripper Patton Korea. I keep saying Ripper Patton Korea. No, M46 Patton Korea. I'll just call it Ripper Patton from now on. It makes it easier. So, shell velocities on this tank: 1,000 meters a second for the standard AP rounds, 1,250 meters a second for the APCRs, and 1,000 meters a second for the HE rounds. 90 millimeters as well as 88. Anything below 100 and 105 millimeters, HE really isn't all that useful. One thing people tend to think is, well, it's used for lightly armored targets. Yes, it is, but because you don't have a high caliber gun, it doesn't really do much for a high explosive. It doesn't have that big a range, so keep that in mind. That's why I keep my loadout pretty low as far as HE ammo goes, but AP and APCR, again, still good to use. This one actually has lower view range than the Ripper Patton with 380, and I believe you can get that up to about 4 with my crew, because I strictly loaded out for recon, situational awareness, brothers in arms, and as well as vents. You can push that up to about 420, which is still useful. It's not bad. It's still pretty good, but not the best that you can get it. Again, equipment, strictly up to you. I use vents, coated optics, gun rammer, kind of your standard loadout for most tanks. So it's not underwhelmed to anything, but very good in its place. So, as with the previous tank, we'll get into another video for it right now. Please enjoy, and again, no commentating. Don't want to mess up on any words or anything, so please enjoy the video, and we'll get back to it right after this. So, that was the end of that. So I highly recommend you don't do the running in front of an E3 with the Panzer 58 Mutz, only because you will die, man. Um, Overall, still a great tank. As I said, you kind of want to run with the pack instead of run against it. This tank is probably suited best for that role, as far as wolf packing goes. It's 90 mil, very accurate, even on the move. Considerably German of it. But don't feel like you can't take advantage of the mobility to get into position. The 90 mil on it is still pretty accurate, so you can still snipe from afar. On the move, dispersion is still pretty decent. As you saw me shoot the M103 on the move, small shot of the lower glacis of it, still managing to take it out. So again, tank is still very useful, but mostly a wolf packer. Standard cost of it is 8,700 gold, as well as, fortunately again, Wargaming decides to only sell it for 9,100. Again, that extra 400 gold for the crew and the garage slot. Currently still in the store until September 1st. 2 days, guys, 2 days. And we'll be right back with part 3 of the video. So, let's get on to that one. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so now we come to the final part of this lovely bundle. My favorite tank in the bundle, and obviously ranked number 1 out of the bundle itself, the Rheinmetall Skorpion G. You might notice the Scorpion being that the American also has its little M56 Scorpion, but this tank beats that out the water any day of the week. Tier 8 German tank destroyer, or as it was classified as self-propelled gun. I have been waiting for this tank since its release on PC for, what is it, about a year and a half, I want to say. Might be a little bit longer, might be a little bit shorter, as far as I remember. This tank is fun to drive with its own unique 12.8 centimeter gun. And I don't know why that popped up. Why did that pop up? What the hell, guys? Anyway, the Rheinmetall Skorpion G is obviously a combination between the Rheinmetall Skorpion, or did I say Rheinmetall? The Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger and the Panther tank. Basically sticking that tank, the Borsig's turret on, or uniquely turreted, onto the strap of a Panther hull. This thing is just too fun. It's probably the only tank out of this bundle that anyone should purchase, regardless of your feelings. But again, enough of my normal stuff. Get on to the review of it, or somewhat. So, Rheinmetall Skorpion G. What is good about this tank? What is bad about this tank? This armor is not good about this tank. The hit points of this tank, 1,150. Obviously the lowest number in the bundle itself. The reload time being horrendous. But none of that matters when you put a decent crew in it. Or I could lie. So, rank crew, 9 out of 17. Reload 10.75 opposed to the 12.2. Ammo capacity is something you should always be careful of in all your tanks. Be careful and wary of the amount of ammo you hold. And unfortunately for the Skorpion G, 30 is at least decent because of the amount of average damage this thing gets, which is 490 on a 12.8 with 246 penetration. That is tier 9 tank destroyer status, people, because it gets a tier 9 tank destroyer gun. DPM 2,744 with a top speed, which is what everybody wants in their tank destroyers. Very fondly of the British tank destroyers. 60 kilometers forward. Reverse, of course, I think is like 20. I should probably check that. Yeah, 20. Still, not too bad. But you can tell it forgoes all its uniqueness for that gun. The 12.8 centimeter Canon 43 L55, which is unique to the Skorpion itself because no other tank has it. What do you mean? Well, they have the 12.8 Canon 44, not the 43. The Skorpion is the only one with this gun, and that's because of that ridiculous penetration that the tank carries. 246 is oddly enough a tier 9 penetration. What the Borsig itself gets, or not the Borsig. Yeah, I believe the Borsig gets that as well because it gets the tier 10, as well as the Waffenträger Panzer 4. Those are the only ones that come with that. There is no tier 9 cannon. I don't understand the 12.8 being like this, but pay to win, bros. Pay to win. You be the judge. Ammunition, of course, we can check out the velocity of the shell. 920 meters a second on the standard AP, 920 on the HE, 1150 on that APCR. Boy, do you people like shooting APCR out of this thing. I cannot count the amount of Skorpion Gs that I've actually gone against throughout the ASOP that were shooting APCR only. Yeah, people. View range, of course, being pretty shoddy out of all three of the tanks. It's the lowest. Overall stats, I think, compared to the other two, the Skorpion G falls in the third place, only because the view range is low at 360. The armor is obviously nothing. The reload time is hard, but everybody forgoes that just for that gun. And quite frankly, the way this tank looks. Come on. Who doesn't like a Skorpion on their tank? Seriously, Wargaming. It's like screaming by me. It's very unique. Very unique looking. Probably the best tank I've had to date to play besides the Nameless or the Edelweiss. This is actually very reminiscent of that because it does look unique compared to its own nation, so to speak. Of course, the Panther hull doesn't say much for it, but anyway, you get my point. The unique shape of the barrel makes it, it's there, people, it's there. I cannot oversell this tank more than that unless I really, really want to, but no pushing it. Standard cost of this tank, of course, is 11,700. Yeah, with that 50% silver bonus and 15% XP bonus, which I forgot to mention for the Panzer 58 Mutz is the exact same. Forgot to mention that in that video. Apologies. Tried covering everything. So, Skorpion G development of the second series of self-propel guns on the basis of the Panzer tank was started by Rheinmetall Company in January 1943. The design plans for the 12.8 centimeter Skorpion were completed on April 2nd, 1943. Existed only in blueprints, because if this tank existed, the war might have gone in a different angle, people. Seriously. I can honestly say anybody who played this tank would probably not play any other tank for a good while. That's how I felt. Basically it. Everything else is pretty good on it. I don't... Simply because of the gun or this tank itself is the reason I bought it. But again, all this is opinionated. Man, I can't say that word. My opinion. There you go. Works for me. All this is my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt, depending on what you want to do for yourself. This was just my choice as far as purchase. But, Skorpions. So, as with all the other tanks, let's get into another battle. And again, sorry if you don't hear me talk, but I feel like having the tank itself show off its perks or aesthetics, gun handling, stuff like that, is better for itself to do rather than me commentating over it and doing a poor job at it. So, let's get stuck into that video and enjoy. Forgot to mention before the action, standard equipment being gun rammer, coated optics, as well as binoculars to increase that poor view range of 360. So, just letting you know. Again, apologies. Back to the game. So, as I've constantly pointed out, Skorpion G, very good money making tank. Very good for punching above your weight class. Tier 9s and 10s, it still puts up a decent fight, as long as you don't get shot. One of the things I forgot and should have been noticeable in the video itself is the turret traverse. Probably one of the least liked things about the tank. Again, forgoes all armor for mobility, has really good gun. That's exactly why you get the tank. Turret traverse, not really the best, and you'll notice that yourself when you drive the tank if you purchase it, because most of the times in my games I ended up having to turn the tank entirely for the gun to even swing around fast enough to my enemy, rather than waiting for the gun to try to line it up. That's probably something that most people can get used to. Again, it's not a brawling tank, it's a sniping tank, as should be most of your TDs, and should be something you should be accustomed to if you play the German lightly armored tank destroyers, such as the Borsig, the Panzer IV, the Sturmil, that entire line to the Grilly 15 or the Waffenträger off E100 is pretty much reminiscent of this. This tank probably comes closest to the Grilly 15 as far as its overall tank stats. Great mobility, decent sniper. The aim time, not the best, but still pretty good. Just don't feel like you'll be able to snap shots off on the move. It rarely most of the times works, if that. So again, keep that in mind if you decide to purchase a tank. I can only sell you this so much because I like the Borsig. I like the Rheinmetall Skorpion G simply because of the way it looks. Overall, this tank was probably the most anticipated by the community, as well as wanted because of the unique looking aesthetics of the tank, as well as this gun. Best thing to happen to it, and the best thing to have on it. Other than that, the tank itself was probably mediocre. Something I pointed out through that video. Again, increase the view range is probably something I can only stress. I decided, because of the fire chance being 20%, forgo the fire extinguisher later on to upgrade to the chocolate. Why? The tank, because if you end up in tier 9, 9 and 10 matches, you can pretty much always be guaranteed to make money. I've seen people, and a couple of my viewers that watch, also shoot just a PCR. Take around the standard consumables, fire extinguisher, repair kit, and med kit, and still make a profit from shooting all APCRs. Completely up to them and completely up to you, but again, not really necessary. 246mm of penetration on the Skorpion G would more than suffice. A few APCRs does not hurt anywhere, but again, that's by choice. Overall, this bundle itself costs, on just tanks alone, 29,100 gold. That's each individual tank at their standard value being added together for 29,100 gold. Wargaming sold this bundle at 24,500, a little bit under $100 for the 3 tanks. I had the extra cash at the beginning, and this was the last purchase I made for the month from Wargaming, because I don't get these tanks for free. But individually, the tanks over, they sell for over the bundle if you buy them individually. If you don't want any of the tanks, or you just want one of the tanks, they're currently still being sold until September 1st individually with their one garage slot, their one training crew. I believe the Skorpion G comes in at 12,000 flat, which is only what the heck happened there? Which is only 300 more. Let me see. Skorpion G 11,700 and is being sold for should be right here. 12,000, so 300 more compared to the other two. As well as they always, I think, throw in some extra premium shells, if I remember right. Depending, I'm not too sure. Again, this bundle is completely up to you. I purchased it, so I can't really show you it. But 24,500 gold, roughly about $100 for all three. The bundle itself, for each individual tank, yes, the bundle is worth it because it comes with 3 tanks for about 20% less than what the overall cost for the tanks would be, as well as giving you each a garage slot for each, a premium ASOP that comes with 100,000 silver, as well as a 1-day premium time, a few premium shells. The tank bundle itself is worth it. However, in my opinion, the only tank that is probably preferable to the community and myself is probably the Skorpion G. That's pretty much it. Comparably to anyone, to the Ripper Patton or the Mutz, in my opinion, the Skorpion G has the best money-making capacity out of the bundle, which is what you buy Tier 8 premium tanks for, which is why I got it. And even with the 15% experience bonus that you get from it, you can still train your crews, because again, if you end up as a bottom tier, shooting tier 9s and 10s is still more still beneficial to any tier 8 tank, but still more accomplishable for the Skorpion G because of its penetration compared to the Patton or the Mutz. Overall, the bundle itself, 8 out of 10. The only thing selling this would probably, in my opinion, be the Mutz, the Skorpion G. The Ripper Patton is a welcome tank to console, but it's not really beneficial, and I wish Wargaming had sold just the 2 instead of all 3. But that is, again, my opinion. Wargaming reserves the right to sell the tanks how they want, and either way, I still purchased it in the end. Again, each of them come with an ASOP that you can complete within, I believe, 6 to 7 days of purchasing them. This is still a pretty good bundle and a good value overall for a purchase. But again, that's just my opinion because I chose to buy it. Beast of War bundle goes away on the 1st of September. Apologies that I couldn't get this out. A lot of stuff going around as far as personal issues, so I at least hope this helps or you get to see the video prior to it being released. Again, if you guys need a full tank review of each individual tank, this is sort of a mini review for it, or mini tank review. So if you guys feel like you need to see the individual tank compared to something of equal tier or a tank comparable to itself, please feel free to ask in the comments or message me on YouTube. Alright, well, that's it for me. Have an awesome day, guys.